good, family? It's your boy D-Rose, back with the Supremely Black podcast. I was asked over the weekend, man, what was my thoughts on Black Wall Street? What did it really mean to our community? Is it possible that we could get it back? When you think about, just reading up on the history on that June 2nd of 1921, when, for the people that don't know, Black Wall Street was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was a very, very powerful business district. You had your plumbing, electrician, local bars, restaurants, barbershops, pretty much everything that is considered having nice things in a nice neighborhood. You had that in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But the beautiful part about it was that it was Black owned. On June 2nd of 1921, it was attacked by a white mob. Over 300 people had killed. They had pretty much destroyed the entire district it was considered like Greenwood Avenue, but they considered it Black Wall Street. So everybody in that area had lost their businesses and things of that nature. So I was intrigued about it when I looked up the story. I've been knowing about it for years now, but somebody had asked, do you think that we could actually get back to that time and place? I think it's possible. We just are faced now with a lot of different things because, from 1921, I just really want to know of what was the difference now. Like, it felt like niggas back then, excuse my language, but I feel like niggas back then didn't have or wasn't faced with they got it. You feel me? Like, it wasn't no gangs, it wasn't no dope dealing, it wasn't a lack of protection for women. It wasn't brothers hating on brothers. It was schools within the area. Reading the articles, it was a lot of unity. I haven't scrolled over any article at all that was just like, you couldn't come here and be successful and thrive if you were a black business. So the only thing is now that I would think about when you realize the importance and the power behind Black Wall Street in 1921, but also of the white mob coming in and destroying something that was so beautiful. And keep in mind, they actually, after everything was destroyed, they tried to come back and build it. But people just wasn't mentally stable enough to really withstand what was going on, because for many years they've hid what really happened on that massacre. And I think it's good that it circulates and people are starting to really look into it. So I would just definitely advise everybody to look into it. But to answer the question, do I think it's possible? Yes, but we would have to get back to the original code of what it meant to have black unity and black power. Meaning, when we were faced with segregation, I think that made a lot of people more comfortable with wanting to be a part of a system instead of it being like a Black Wall Street and funding and supporting their own businesses. And, keep in mind, like, there was 1.8 million damages to this place. That was like $27 million today. And that's in that entire area. So just imagine if that was never torn down in 1921 to where we would be now, 100 years later. It's, you have to salute them for doing that, but we're faced with a lot of different things. Plus, people have a segregation mind, so we're depending on the system from government. Some people just want to complain and not really make a way. Niggas love the beef over blocks that they don't own. It ain't no more you can get money anywhere because, it's black and it's one love and we're all trying to push forward. We're very aware that every city, every town damn near is a side of the town where only certain people can get money over there. So I think that's another variation. But it would have to get back to where it really was a code of conduct of how you moved and how people were allowed to do and not do certain things within the community. So I say that by saying some of the things that were formed, like Black Panther Party, NAACP, the original meaning of gangs from, you know, the Black P-Stones and the GDs in Chicago, or the Stones, the Crips and Bloods out of California, just local communities that were in the South. Of course, we got a lot of our different variations of what gangs are now. It's spun out of control. It doesn't have that original community feel, but gangs then were formed to protect our neighborhoods from people trying to invade and take over. In order for there to ever be another Black Wall Street or Greenwood Avenue, it would take for us to really go back to the actual code that we once stood by and actually stay focused on it. Don't allow segregation to make us conform to their system. Don't allow drugs and money to divide us, to prevent us from getting to our bigger goal. Now, it seems like we're faced with a lot. I think maybe from my perspective, I may be a little bit more optimistic of saying that, hey, I think we could get back to that point to where it would be another Black Wall Street, especially with a lot of people realizing now that that shit really ain't getting us nowhere. I mean, killing, beefing over blocks, and you've heard it in 1,000 songs now. It's kind of trendy, beefing over blocks we don't own. And then you look at stories like this, and people were just amazed to even be alive. But those white people came in very intentional with the mobs and killed over 300 people, just really with not a care in the world. And the crazy part about it is, it's like the Rosewood Massacre. There's been very prominent and very productive Black cities that have lost their power based off of this same thing. White mobs come in and destroy it. So the thing is now, and how I would think of it, is a challenging question for everybody that is listening to this, or may, listen to this, is, are we even powerful enough that a white mob would have to come in and stop our growth? Or are we blindly being guided to do their own work? So then, back in the day, Rosewood, Black Wall Street, other very prominent areas, they had to use some type of tactic. A lot of people say, like COINTELPRO and, agents coming in to break up the system. Are we even that structured now to even garner such attention from a white mob to say we got to come in and stop these people from growing and taking over their communities and eventually impacting the nation? I think that's fair enough to ask, is that, are we even that powerful? Do we have that much unity amongst each other to garner that much attention from a white mob? Now, I think Black Wall Street is possible, and I told you exactly how I think we could get there. But just another part I want you all to think about, the way it's looking now, without no structure, they don't even have to do anything anymore. It's almost, it's friendly fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, people, the niggas, everybody that fuck with Call of Duty, you know how it is when you shoot your teammate and you keep killing them and keep killing them and keep killing them. And it might be funny the first couple of times, but that's really how we playing in life. I wouldn't even use Grand Theft Auto. I'm gonna say friendly fire because it's a war, not a video game, but this is like real life war. And I think they've conditioned us so much that people don't think that we could do another Black Wall Street because we're faced with so many different things. But that's definitely the question that I would have for people that have watched this, is that I think we can get Black Wall Street. I would love to see it. But my biggest issue is that, are we too far gone based off of the circumstances that we're in right now, that we couldn't even work with each other just based off of what gang you rep, what hood you from, how much money y'all could be getting over there? Have we been hoodwinked into thinking that we're our own enemy so that they could move in silence and put everything in place that will put another hurdle in front of us to continue to stop it. So yeah, that's my thoughts. So you make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you drop your comments. I would say, to answer the question for the people that asked me about it, I think Black Wall Street is possible. My question for you all, and I may have to touch bases on this again, is are we even powerful enough to lead such a movement, especially with all the distractions that we have and that we also allow within our communities that could be poisoning the mind to prevent us from being successful like we once were as a group. But this is your boy D Rose with the Supremely Black Podcast, and I'm out. Salute.